Hey guys, Ponce here on the PBE, here to talk to you guys about some potential balance changes to the good old Black Cleaver. Now these are kind of interesting and they're fairly extensive, so I put the old version of Black Cleaver just to refresh everyone's memory up on the screen somewhere. It should be in Notepad, or probably on the left side of the screen, top left side. And here's the new version right here. Currently builds out of Phage, Kindle Gem, and result Black Cleaver. Now, so the stats have been changed accordingly as well. So it's 400 health, 40 attack damage, 20 cooldown reduction, and now basically the shred component lasts for 6 seconds opposed to 4 seconds, so it lasts longer and is more effective by 1 stack. So as opposed to shredding 25% armor, it shreds 30% armor. And now it of course gets the unique rage effect thing as well, where you move faster and that whole thing. So it's kind of like a Trinity Force in that regard. Now as a result, it's lost the passive, what's it called? The passive armor penetration, and it gives. So now it has more health, but loses 10 attack damage, but has more cooldown reduction. So that's kind of interesting. There's a Riot post, which I'll put in the description below. It'll link to it. And sort of Riot talks about what's going on with this item. But yeah, Black Cleaver's sort of been a weird item ever since like the nerfs it got, because when it was first sort of reworked back in, I believe, the beginning of Season 3, it was horrendously overpowered. I believe the post refers to it as League of Cleavers or something like that. That's more or less what it was, because, yeah, people just stacked like 3 or 4 or 5 Black Cleavers and murdered everyone. And now we have its current state where it's sort of a hard thing to justify building a lot of the time outside of very, very specific scenarios, i.e. really tanky people and you're a guy who can get a lot of attacks off on a person to stack them up really quickly. I believe like Urgot's one of the few champions that like consistently and always builds it. There's probably a few more, but yeah, now it's definitely more sort of this tanky-ish, bruiser-ish kind of item. Cooldown reduction is always really, really good. People always underestimate how good cooldown reduction is. I'd basically say that I'd like to call this sort of a buff to this item overall. The end result is much better and sort of much easier to use in many more sorts of scenarios, especially given the whole quote-unquote tank meta or whatever, or I'm just spamming tank champions. You'll probably see this game or item come into play a lot. The one unfortunate thing about this whole thing is its build path is sort of wonky now. Phage has never been my favorite item. Phage has always been just sort of like, well, it's the item that was the stepping stone into Trinity Force, and once upon a time it built into Frozen Mount, but that's not relevant anymore. I'm not a huge Phage fan. Like, the power spike you get from it is not that great. It's more sort of a utility thing and something you're looking to build into. Late game. Kindle Gem, while nice, it's not an offensive sort of item. The old version where you built into it from Brutalizer, and just what's it called? Ruby Crystal. Brutalizer is sort of just a really, really good early game item and just sort of really helps you kill things for a very efficient cost. So, yeah, it's a bit of a trade-off in that you're building Phage instead, and it's not, your kill potential does go down. But, again, ultimately you are building into quite a nice item here. So, yeah, I suspect Black Cleaver, if this balance change goes through, we'll be seeing a lot more use of. Now, of course, you'll probably be seeing it on Urgot, like, I'm not going to say even more, because you see it on Urgot anyway. Let's get away from these chirping bird things, because they're noisy. Now, I imagine Urgot's going to be even better, especially since, he already has really good tank shredding properties, and you're seeing so many tanks and stuff now. Incidentally, I'd like to brag that I always thought Urgot was great, and he's finally come into vogue, so, I think Ponce is just ahead of his time. But anyway, yeah, so Urgot's just sort of a no-brainer choice where people will still be building Black Cleaver on. Maybe stuff like Pantheon will start seeing use of it. I don't know if I'll be building this on Jarvan, since I play a lot of Jarvan. The Phage build path makes it awkward, and I dislike the loss of sort of kill potential. And I certainly play Jarvan sort of a different way, sort of an assassin Jarvan compared to most. So a standard Jarvan build, I don't know if you could fit it in there. Well, I don't know. But yeah, any sort of AD caster, I see that working in fairly well. Jace you could probably use it with. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to speculate that kind of thing. There's probably a lot of cases where this would be quite useful now. So anyway, like I said, interesting changes, potential changes to Black Cleaver. Hasn't hit live yet. So yeah, I'll see you guys around, and thanks for watching.